The relationship between a hotel general manager, GM, and the hotel owner is one of the most important relationships in the hospitality industry. The GM is responsible for the day-to-day operations of the hotel, while the owner is responsible for the financial well-being of the property. A strong relationship between these two individuals can lead to a successful hotel, while a poor relationship can lead to problems. There are a number of factors that can contribute to a strong relationship between a GM and an owner. First, it is important for the two individuals to have a clear understanding of each other's roles and responsibilities. The GM should know what the owner expects in terms of financial performance, guest satisfaction, and other metrics. The owner, on the other hand, should understand the challenges that the GM faces in running the hotel on a day-to-day basis. Second, it is important for the GM and the owner to communicate effectively. This means being able to share information openly and honestly, and being willing to listen to each other's concerns. It also means being able to resolve conflicts in a constructive manner. Third, it is important for the GM and the owner to have a shared vision for the hotel. This means agreeing on the goals that the hotel should achieve, and the strategies that should be used to achieve those goals. When the GM and the owner are aligned on these issues, it is much easier to make decisions that are in the best interests of the hotel. Of course, no relationship is perfect, and there will be times when the GM and the owner disagree. However, if the two individuals have a strong foundation of trust and respect, they will be able to work through these disagreements and come to a mutually agreeable solution. Here are some tips for improving the relationship between a GM and an owner. Set clear expectations. Make sure that both the GM and the owner know what is expected of each other. This includes the GM's responsibilities for day-to-day operations, the owner's responsibilities for financial performance, and the shared vision for the hotel. Communicate effectively. This means being open and honest with each other, and being willing to listen to each other's concerns. It also means being able to resolve conflicts in a constructive manner. Build trust. This takes time and effort, but it is essential for a strong relationship. The GM and the owner need to be able to trust each other to make decisions that are in the best interests of the hotel. Be flexible. Things change in the hospitality industry, so the GM and the owner need to be willing to adapt to change. This means being willing to make changes to the hotel's operations, or even its vision, if necessary. Regularly update the owner on the hotel's performance. This includes financial performance, guest satisfaction, and other metrics. Be proactive in identifying and resolving problems. Don't wait for the owner to come to you with problems. If you see something that could be a problem, bring it to the owner's attention so that it can be addressed before it becomes a major issue. Times. Be responsive to the owner's requests. If the owner asks you to do something, do it promptly and to the best of your ability. Be respectful of the owner's time. Don't waste the owner's time with unnecessary meetings or reports. Be grateful for the owner's investment. Let the owner know how much you appreciate their investment in the hotel. By following these tips, you can build a strong relationship with your owner that will benefit both you and company. Challenges of the relationship. Despite the importance of a strong relationship between a GM and an owner, there are a number of challenges that can arise. These challenges can include different goals. The GM and the owner may have different goals for the hotel. For example, the GM may be focused on guest satisfaction, while the owner may be focused on maximizing profits. Lack of communication. If the GM and the owner do not communicate effectively, it can lead to misunderstandings and conflict. Lack of trust. If the GM and the owner do not trust each other, it can be difficult to make decisions that are in the best interests of the hotel. Owner interference. In some cases, the owner may interfere in the day-to-day operations of the hotel. This can make it difficult for the GM to do their job effectively. How to overcome challenges. There are a number of things that can be done to overcome the challenges of the relationship between a GM and an owner. These include Regularly communicate with the owner. This includes keeping the owner updated on the hotel's performance and discussing any challenges that the hotel is facing. Be transparent with the owner. This means being honest with the owner about the hotel's finances, guest satisfaction, and other metrics. Build trust with the owner. This takes time and effort, but it is essential for a strong relationship. The GM and the owner need to be able to trust each other to make decisions that are in the best interests of the hotel. Set clear boundaries with the owner. This means letting the owner know what decisions are the GM's responsibility and what decisions are the owner's responsibility. The benefits of a strong relationship. A strong relationship between a GM and an owner can have a number of benefits. These benefits include improved financial performance. When the GM and the owner are aligned on their goals, it is easier to make decisions that will improve the hotel's financial performance. Increased guest satisfaction. When the GM and the owner are focused on providing a great guest experience, it is more likely that guests will be satisfied with their stay. Reduced turnover. When employees feel that they are working for a hotel that is well managed and has a strong future, they are more likely to stay with the hotel. Increased opportunities for growth. When the GM and the owner have a good working relationship, it is easier to pursue new opportunities for growth. Common mistakes to avoid. There are a number of common mistakes that GMs can make when dealing with their owners. These mistakes can include not communicating effectively. This is one of the most common mistakes that GMs make. If they do not communicate effectively with their owners, it can lead to misunderstandings and conflict. Not being transparent. GMs should be honest with their owners about the hotel's finances, guest satisfaction, and other metrics. If they are not transparent, it can damage the trust between the GM and the owner. Not building trust. Trust is essential for a strong relationship between a GM and an owner. GMs need to build trust with their owners by being honest, transparent, and reliable. Not setting clear boundaries. GMs need to set clear boundaries with their owners. This means letting the owner know what decisions are the GM's responsibility and what decisions are the owner's responsibility. How to maintain a strong relationship. A strong relationship between a GM and an owner takes time and effort to maintain. However, there are a number of things that can be done to keep the relationship strong. These include regularly communicate with the owner. This is essential for keeping the owner informed about the hotel's performance and for discussing any challenges that the hotel is facing. Be transparent with the owner. This means being honest with the owner about the hotel's finances, guest satisfaction, and other metrics. Build trust with the owner. This takes time and effort, but it is essential for a strong relationship. The GM and the owner need to be able to trust each other to make decisions that are in the best interests of the hotel. Set clear boundaries with the owner. This means letting the owner know what decisions are the GM's responsibility and what decisions are the owner's responsibility. Be proactive. Don't wait for the owner to come to you with problems. If you see something that could be a problem, bring it to the owner's attention so that it can be addressed before it becomes a major issue. Be responsive to the owner's requests. If the owner asks you to do something, do it promptly and to the best of your ability. Be respectful of the owner's time. Don't waste the owner's time with unnecessary meetings or reports. Be grateful for the owner's investment. Let the owner know how much you appreciate their investment in the hotel. By following these tips, you can maintain a strong relationship with your owner that will benefit both of you. The relationship between a hotel general manager and the hotel owner is one of the most important relationships in the hospitality industry. A strong relationship can lead to a successful hotel, while a poor relationship can lead to problems.